Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
We understand that the court has denied Nnamdi Kanu's request to an external medical center.
Well, yes, that's quite a surprising ruling today. We were served all of a sudden, as a matter of surprise, an ambush with the medical report, which the court ordered the Nigerian Medical Association to submit since 26th September. So that medical report that we were served is dated 10th October. And it was today that we were served in open court with it. So, well, you can say that the defense had no ample opportunity to react to it. It was more an ambush. But nonetheless, the court had ordered further that Nnamdi Kanu be examined by the Nigerian Medical Association. That examination was never carried out, and the order was entered on 26th September and restated on 8th October. That part of the order was disobeyed. They never examined him. So the report is based on some informal meeting they held with Nnamdi Kanu as far back as 18th September at the DSS headquarters in Abuja. They were invited to do that by the DSS. The court and the DSS are not the same. So what we have in court, or what we were served in court today, quite frankly, we cannot be sure where it emanated from. Did it emanate from assumption, or did it emanate from the examination carried out on 18th September before the court entered an order on 26th September? So we were quite surprised from us, and we felt a bit disadvantaged, but the proceedings had to continue apace as the court wanted it. So at the end of the day, the court made a conclusion and a ruling that Nnamdi Kanu must enter his defense from the 24th of October and conclude his defense by the 30th of October. So basically, it's a 6-day trial window that we're looking at there.
So how fit is the defense now? How fit is the defense counsel, defense team particularly, entering the defense now? How ready are you guys?
Well, you see, lawyers are trained to be ready for any eventuality. But the justice of the matter is another case altogether. I choose not to comment on that.
So wait, we have to comment. Sorry, sir. I'm one of the members of the legal team. This is a public document brought in by the medical council through the prosecution. So they serve us this thing today. And if you watch there, in this particular medical report, you can see all the ailments they say that Nnamdi Kanu is suffering from. And surprisingly, somebody that has all these particular issues, you now, in the last paragraph, to say that from your own distance, you can stand trial. Somebody that is passing through all these ailments. Having said that, too, go to make a consequential order. Say, please, go and examine him and report back to me. They never examine Nnamdi Kanu, only for them to come up with this report. Nigerian Medical Council, they should be very careful, because this is a professional body and you are expected to act professionally. Yes. In your report, you are expected, I'm not a medical doctor, but I'm a practicing lawyer. You are expected to show that on this particular day, you obtain his specimen. We carried out this lab, and the lab showed this. We are talking about somebody's life, for goodness sake. You cannot just enter into your office room and you open your system and start writing trash. And you want court to rely on it. And surprisingly, we are expected to take a date for us to go. And because when the court gave us an opportunity to respond, we are ought to have taken a date to confer from our clients. Yes, it was when Nnamdi Kanu said, what? We are the people that even gave Nnamdi Kanu this thing. When the court was about to sit, we are talking about somebody's life. Of course, as a matter of this thing, the Igbos are on trial. This is a war against the Igbos. Of course, you are here when the president ordered the police and the army to go and negotiate and have a discussion with the terrorists and the non-bandits in this town. With their arms.
And somebody that is exercising his right
as given to him by the constitution, both local and international legislations, and you say that he should enter trial. Trial for what? What is it trial? What are you trying for? Do you have even jurisdiction? Does the court have jurisdiction to entertain this particular matter? Somebody that has been discharged by court of appeal. So we don't want to go into that. This is a trial. Again, these Igbos are on trial. This is a persecution, not a prosecution. And I stand by it. And I'm calling the entire Nigerians. It's the Igbos and the Kanu today. It can be another person tomorrow. And we should stand against it. That's why we are protesting. Why should we be treating a human being like this? Simply because the offense Nnamdi Kanu committed is because he's an Igbo man. Can you do it somebody from the north? Can you do it somebody from the west? You cannot. People have been agitating. So boy has been going around agitating for Republic of Oduduwa. Have you arrested him? The answer is no. Because Nnamdi Kanu is an Igbo and he feels that nobody can speak with him for him. And we are saying no to that. We can never be intimidated. Nobody is more Nigerian than anybody. Nobody is a second-class citizen in this country, and we are going to fight it. I'm begging judiciary not allow yourself to be used. They know what they are doing. Are you telling me that it was on the 13th? Court gave you 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you now produce the document on the 13th, and you kept it with you. You do not allow us to go and see our client with it, only for you to serve us 5 minutes before court is sitting, and you ask us to respond. Is this injustice or injustice, for goodness sake? We should call evil, and when you call evil, it will stop existing. That is our submission.
When there was no evaluation, you come up with.
Confident that should Nnamdi Kanu be released, security in the southeast will be positively affected.
Well, let me say this. You know, Nnamdi Kanu is before a court of competent jurisdiction, and it would be very, very unfair for me to be talking about the release of Nnamdi Kanu, which is before Justice Omotosha, discussing anything about that honorable court. And I urge Nigerians to learn how to respect the courts. And I want to leave that about respecting the courts for now.
See, let me tell you something. The general point of convergence in regards to the agitation for the release of Nnamdi Kanu is nothing but injustice. Let me say again, the general point of convergence in regards to the agitation for the release of Nnamdi Kanu is injustice. Injustice as portrayed by the government, by both the present and the past. Injustice in what aspect? Injustice in the aspect that this man has been lingering in detention now for how many years? 5 years or even more, without the court being able to arrive at a verdict. So is it that they need to travel to the moon to gather evidences to secure his conviction? That is injustice number one. The second point is people with worse atrocities have been pardoned. Negotiation with radical elements, bandits, has been done recently, and a lot of other variables. So in the spirit of fairness, there must be that justice. This one now is to the reasonable mind, but to the biased mind, to the tribalistic mind, to the fanatic mind, all these things will not stick. And that is why I must commend the effort of the likes of them, Atiku or whatever, that have come out to speak. And let me tell you something. At this point in time, neutrality is siding with the opposition. Neutrality, not opposition, neutrality is siding with injustice. So there shouldn't be anything at stake as far as the clamor for justice is concerned. So I'm saying this in regards to all the prominent figures, prominent politicians, influential individuals. If you sit on the fence at this point in time, a reasonable mind should come to that conclusion that you are already siding with injustice. And that is just it.
Good day, sir. Viewers, if you are watching, click on the like button, drop your comment, and also make sure you share this program to others. Subscribe if you have not done so. Tinubu will lose 2027 election if he releases Mazi Nnamdi Kanu This statement is believed to be credited to the recent governor that just defected to APC, Governor of Enugu State, Peter Mba. What do you have to say about it?
We saw the recent development currently going on now, more especially with the national call for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And we have seen the more there is a push for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's release, the more we are seeing uncredited statements coming from the entire Igbo leaders. We saw what is actually going on currently now in Enugu. The Enugu State Governor, Peter Mba, has decamped. And Odzo Kalu came. As you watch at the background at the video, you saw Odzo Kalu making unnecessary statements about the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Umahi and the rest of them, these are Igbo leaders who are involved, political leaders who are involved in this current, APC ruling, party, and that sends a very bad picture of what has Igbo leaders has become in this era currently now compared to what we used to have before as Igbo leaders, the likes of, Achobo Kadibo, the likes of, Odmego Juku, the likes of, so many of them, so it surprises a lot of people that this development has come to a point where it has become, a very big embarrassment to the people of that Igbo extraction. Yes, we have seen reactions coming from the federal government themselves, Bayo Nonuga and the rest of them making a statement concerning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's agitation, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's popularity, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's quest for being left off the hook because his continued detention in DSS custody has triggered a national discourse at this very particular moment. Let us take it clearly here that the governor of Enugu State has decamped. We have seen more Eastern political leaders moving to APC. But let me just say that a statement that was credited to Peter Mba, the governor of Enugu State, he clearly stated that that he's going to Aso Rock, so that the Igbo voice can be heard. At the center, that's quite an embarrassing statement from a leader like that, making that kind of statement. That gives you a clear picture of what one becomes of in Nigeria as a child. When you are in Nigeria as a child, especially from Igbo extraction, of what future do you actually have in Nigeria when leaders like this started making a statement? They lost confidence, they lost ideology, they have seen that they are politically being conquered. What is heading to South East currently now, politically, is total conquest. Politically, yes, total political conquest in all ramifications. There's no justification for that, because they keep on throwing up these excuses, just to align with their selfish interest. But let us come to reality. What is it actually that the Igbo leaders are looking for at this point in time, apart from making sure that whatever that is holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has become a taboo, has become something that will never be celebrated by this generation concerning the kind of political leaders they have. If Igbo leaders have, lost the culture and tradition of being Igbo, they have actually embraced conquest. What is coming to East, at this point in time, is the reason why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still in detention. Yes, they have taken it upon themselves. Sowore has taken to lead a certain protest or rally, or national call for a man that have not committed any crime that have been kept in custody. So these Igbo leaders presently now are not looking for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's release. They are just making an embarrassing statement over how they are going to, line up their pockets, enrich themselves at the end of the day and pretend they are fighting an Igbo cause. They are not fighting for any Igbo cause. And I'll give you an instances to that. If they come out and say that releasing of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will now make Bola Ahmed Tinubu not to win 2027 election, and that's the reason why they are not going to add their voice to the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that is a very devastating and unbelievable statement calling from these people. They call themselves Igbo leaders. But let us look inwards and understand why are we now experiencing this political conquest coming from the APC and a party that has been labeled as a terrorist organization. Now they are being built on this thing under the political interest where they find their interest, but they are not actually protecting the interest of the people. The Igbo region currently now is under serious serious conquest. I can tell you political conquest, and that is going to open up more infiltration, of jihad, political jihad in the southeast. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu must not be allowed, in whatever happens, to remain in DSS custody. The reason is why, there's no court of competent jurisdiction that have found Mazi Nnamdi Kanu guilty. Still, he has spent over 2,000 days in DSS custody. And up to this very moment, the whole body of Igbo extraction had deemed it fit to stand up against the injustice that's happening, in all ramifications in the Igbo land now, currently now. We're not talking about the demolitions that is going on of Igbo properties in Lagos. We are talking about, bringing a political conquest, and that is a very devastating one for a lot of people, all over the world. But the fact still remains that, at this point in time, I don't want to say that we have lost the political class to Fulani agenda. Honestly, I can tell you that with what is going on, because we have seen these governors have not been able, to stand up for the reality on ground. They are only interested on how they are going to, continue to line up and use and continue to use a certain influence and to continue to oppress and suppress the people. Nobody will tell me that this present administration under APC government, that the Igbo nation has not been marginalized. And it's quite embarrassing, that the Igbo influence and the Igbo strength and, the Igbo Republican spirit are dwindling on daily basis because there's no commanding voice, there's no control voice, that's being heard anywhere now, because most of these resistant voices now, most of them are either in custody, or being, shut down completely, and this is quite a sign that things are getting deeper and deeper and deeper into the Igbo surrounding. And look at what is happening in Okigwe now. We know very clearly that Okigwe Olu Aziz, people might not understand that those who created the crisis there don't create that crisis for just no reason. It was a federal government-led conspiracy, to make sure that what they are looking for in that state, they're able to get it, especially when it comes to the gas in Imo State. They have to create problem there and make sure that they thoroughly conquer that Imo State completely, with the hope of Uzodimma and the rest of them, so that they'll be able to start extracting the gas there without any opposition, without any resistance, and that is why there is constant, build-up of security challenges in Imo State currently now. Well, if that's what they make out of it, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu must continue to be in detention just to make sure that Bola Ahmed Tinubu wins that 2027 election. The question now is that, is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu really an obstacle to Bola Ahmed Tinubu in winning that election? Yes, a lot of people might say yes, a lot of people might say no, but I want to know your reactions to that. Without Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's freedom, Tinubu will not win a 2027 election. Then the question is it for the South, East, South, or entire Southwest? Or Nnamdi Kanu has become, a political influence, culturally and traditionally in all ramifications within the Nigerian context, where anything he says, goes across beyond the old Eastern Bloc or Eastern region, down to Southwest. It has a certain influence, and that is why this understanding, that this conspiracy that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will not be released. On this process of trying to say this, where Igbo leaders are saying that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will not be released because they don't want Bola Ahmed Tinubu to lose election, then how will you now justify this in the midst of injustice? Is it all about what the Igbo leader can come up with at the end of the day, that there's no how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be released, and that his release will jeopardize re-election? Then Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is going to suffer the consequences of what he doesn't know, the consequences of political embarrassment and conquest of the people of that region. I do not know how to put this in, there, but it is something that the whole world need to look into in solidarity for what is happening. It might look to a national, rebate at the end of the day if what we are hearing, if what we are seeing has finally become a reality, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be kept in DSS custody until after 2027, possibly 2031, where another Fulani man will emerge as the president of Nigeria, and then we will continue from there. But that will not be possible because there's a limit where you can push the people to the wall, and they will turn back and question the reason why they have been kept suppressed and oppressed. I can give you instances of so many things like that. The Igbo strength has